to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
I'm the king of rock, there is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To promote my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
Now we rock the party and come correct. All cuts are on time and rhyme connect. Got the right to vote and we'll elect. Another rapper can't stand us, but give us respect. I wanna rock.
Back in 1955, man didn't know about a rock and roll show. No, that does. White man had the schmaltz, black man had the blues. No one knew they was going to do what Tchaikovsky had to do. Oh, let me rock. You know what I want. I love rock and roll. Good night time in a jukebox, baby. And it came to pass, the rock and roll was born. Love was the land, every rock and band was going up the stone. And the guitar man got famous, the business man got rich, and everybody was a superstar. Was a singing rich. Oh, let me rock. You know what I want. I love rock and roll. Good night time in a jukebox, baby.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm.
And the music was good and the music was loud.
All right, everyone. I hope everyone liked that random mashup I found on YouTube while I got everyone in here and sorted out. And welcome. Let's just pop. Ah, there we go. You cannot hit the mute button, so thank you guys for letting me know. I will see all of the questions, and we will go through and do all of the answers. That's what I was just talking about there, so you guys didn't miss too much. So ask away. Obviously, anything from the Stats of Trading Room, people replied to the email, all of that will happen first, but there will likely be time for everyone and everything. So I'm going to zoom all the way up here, and I have a notepad. So if you see me look all over the place, it's because there's lots of questions coming in from a lot of different places. Oh, and I forgot. Never mind. I don't need to do that at all. I forgot I have my little streaming app here, has the whole chat history lined up, so I can see all of you guys. Well, welcome. How's it going? Let's pop into this guy right here. We can take a look. We don't need to say starting soon anymore because we are started. Now, if streaming more is something that I'm interested in doing, but as always, I'm going to look at your guys' feedback. We'll talk about a lot of those things, and if you guys are interested in what I'm talking about or just having me on here live ranting and answering questions, certainly let me know. I can find some time to do more of this at different times that are convenient for people. This one is obviously the best for me. Nice lunchtime here. I've got my lunchtime coffee refill, but that's what we're doing. Not talking too much about the market, but we'll obviously have a lot of charts up. We'll take a look at that, and we are doing kind of absolutely nothing today. A little bit of a dip down, a little bit of a pop up, and consolidating, which makes it a great time to do this. Right? If you look at a 5-minute chart, you can see the market's just in a range. It's been in range all day, so it's a good time to do live Q&A. So I am just bringing up here a little notepad that I had because I'm going to go from beginning to end. I'm not going to mention any names. If people want to communicate, obviously we've got the Discord, we've got the live chat, I've got YouTube chat, all kinds of different ways to do that. So make sure if there's follow-up questions, the things that I'm asking or I'm not answering them correctly, you can ping me pretty much anywhere and I will see it. Still got Tryhard. I saw DHH. Tryhard Holdings. Ooh-wee. Yeah, crazy move on that IPO. We've seen some wild IPOs recently. So the first question here is, can I go over batch entering trade signals? So, this particular StatsEdge Pro user was interested in taking some of the signals that comes through and entering them as opposed to one at a time entering them all together, right? So for those of you who may not have been here long enough or may be new here, we end up coming in here. I'm just going to try to show you guys what it looks like to do what a recent post looks like and why someone may be interested in this. And I'll give some caveats and everything that I think are important. But if we take a look here, you can see, right, sometimes, not today, but sometimes there's a lot of potential trades to have taken place, right? Sometimes it can be up to, I think, 40. I'm building out more systems, so it might get to 60. It might get higher. So this person was basically just saying, how can I potentially batch order some of these trades in here in some way? And already, which is something I love, another user answered the question, but I'll talk a little bit about it. So another user gave this link. Nope, not that one. I don't even know what that is. This link. Oh, that was when I was shopping for VW. And this is kind of a step-by-step in the basket trader within Interactive Brokers. So if you trade different brokers, you're going to be able to either do this or not. So it's going to entirely depend on your broker. Someone's asking, right, does Thinkorswim support batch orders? I do not know, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't use them. They're awful here in Canada. I love their platform, but that I'm not too sure. And the idea is that with this, you can generally speaking set up an Excel spreadsheet in which you're putting in things like, here's the ticker, here's the profit target, here's how many shares I potentially want to try. I want to, stop losses, profit targets, that type of thing. And then you can upload this into their system using About This as well. And they do actually have a lot of training about them now. So I'm not going to go through each individual step how to do them. If you're still stuck after you read this, definitely hit me back up and we'll get you set up there. But what I will say, it's important to go through and make sure that you are comfortable with what is happening with each of these trades before you just upload a basket order to them, right? And the reason for them is that you're trading my systems. You're not necessarily trading your own systems in this manner. Now, you can go statsedgetrading.com and you can click on them and you can read all about all of the individual kind of systems and how they correlate to the other and what the returns are, and know that there are multiple negative months in a row and what generally everything ended up looking like and get your confidence in the systems that way. However, you need to make sure that you're going to be confident in each individual trade. So on top of just uploading things to a basket trader, what I would do is I would copy the symbols out here and put them into maybe a watch list here. And you can see this is something that I do every night. So these are the potential ATR trades that we were looking at, and do this every night to make sure that you just kind of go through and you look at potentially what the trade is going to look like. For LI, we were potentially looking to buy it if it dipped today. This LINTA, right? We were trying to buy it and just get familiar with the individual trades, right? So this was a trade that took. This one is working out fantastic so far, but we shorted this LUMN. It was like 550. I don't have that open right now, but around 550, right? And you can just go through it and just at least give yourself some idea, because I'll give you one perfect example. There was SU something. Let me find this here. There was a real wonky one, SUPX, and I just personally skipped on this one. It's an SUPX. And it was just because I would have to trade. I went in and I just looked at this one, and although it meets all of the criteria and actually is working out profitably, I just looked at how crazy this thing was and just kind of said, you know what, I don't need this in my life. It was down 36% yesterday. When I looked at the daily chart, seeing it go from pretty much in a straight line from 10 to 70 and then back to 50, you can position size these things so that you can take small or, large profits or amounts based off it. So you can size that accordingly. I just personally looked at this one and said, I got some other stressful things going on in my life right now. I don't need this one. So again, make sure that you end up having an idea of what it is you're trading, so that you just have that confidence of, I'm going to, hit the trigger, or I'm not, or, maybe I'll upload this one and maybe, the system says I should take this with $10,000, but I'm going to put this one at $5,000 or something like that, right? Just size things accordingly so that they make perfect sense to you, so that you are confident taking the trade. And you have no surprises when it comes into your blotter. That's the only thing I'll say. If you are going to use some sort of automation to take the signals, and it should only take a couple seconds, right? A night for the day trades, or a couple seconds, like a week for the swing trades, or a couple seconds a month for the investments, right? Because we have both, right? Day trades that come in every day, investments that come in once a month, and then swing trades that come in every week, right? So just, again, take that time, just get comfortable with it. That type of thing, right? So the person says they're currently using Thinkorswim, and this to me would just be like a Perplexity question. I love Perplexity, and to be honest, I would probably look at Interactive Brokers if you're getting into automated trading. They're the kings of it. So I just go to Perplexity and just go, can you upload basket trades to TOS? That's just might not know. Think or swim, and right, make it kind of that simple. No, so you can't. So you'd have to place those manually for that. But I would take a look at Interactive Brokers, just because if you're interested in all in algorithmic trading, they're kind of the gold standard of that. Their platform, I do not like. I do not think it's a great platform. I think it's kind of slow. I think it's sluggish. However, if they're just the kings of being able to do things like this, like upload basket trades and do all that. But again, please just go through that process, just so you're not like, why did I buy this thing with so many share sizes? It's absolutely insane. Or why did I take this a little bit smaller? Just questions. Perplexity might go to. All right, we are back. Something happened there for a second. I'm going to try not to hit so many buttons. You might need to hit refresh. So I'll put that. Oh, well, we'll continue to go. I'm just going to make sure that things are working here. My streaming software just crashed. First time I've been streaming in a while. Okay, so I'm back. Good. All right, we're back. So just hit refresh if something glitched, but everything's good. Yeah, so someone was just asking. I like Perplexity for general use, and I use ChatGPT for coding and things like that are a little bit more detailed. So unfortunately, you can't. Just on the broker side of things, that unfortunately is the problem there. So when someone says, so another question here, and again, all these come from the Stats at Trading Room. I'm going to start doing these bi-weekly or weekly. We talked about this in the last one. I want to do kind of shorter, but more. I think it's probably better for you guys overall as well. And this person is just saying, I have a small account under 25,000, do not have day trading capabilities, and don't use leverage. I think, yeah, you're not allowed. Do you have an option for minimum size for the systems? I haven't been able to pull the trigger on adding or reallocating funds in my brokerage to day trading. No, is the simple answer there, because we're putting through the whole my whole idea with day trading, the whole thing that I'm working on when it comes to these day trading systems, is that I am very simply having the idea that the more trading is better, right? The fact that we don't know, and I always give this example of if you flip a coin 3 times, you have no idea what the potential win or loss rate of that is at all, right? You have no way of knowing what that is. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to exploit a very small win rate for a lot, right? Over and over and over again. And to do that, you need to place lots of trades. So if you don't have the PTA rule at all, you don't have the PTA or the pattern day trader rule at all in any way, there's nothing really you can do to know which of these trades have a potential to trigger or which of these have one's potential to be good or not. So the only thing that you could do is kind of just eyeball them and guess, and I don't really like that either. So what I would say is if you don't have the ability to day trade properly, just don't day trade, right? This is why we have access to swing systems, which are my personal favorite. Investment systems, I would work on that side of things while you're, earning and you're funding an account in some ways, you're building the account that you get to that area. Now, 2 things. One, there are prop firms available. If you go to the last video that I put out on my channel yesterday, you can see that, I passed using these systems and bots a new prop firm challenge, and that gave me a $25,000 account. Again, I didn't do it because I needed the account. This is someone I'm partnering with and doing some cool things with. So understand there are options that way. The other side of things is that you need to understand that you don't need to potentially day trade. You can do other things. And then when you get an account big enough that maybe you actually do good at swing trading, you allow a little bit of leverage. So say you have a $100,000 account, you can say, I am going to allow maybe $25,000 a day when it comes to day trading, right? I'm going to allow that little bit, and I'm going to allow that when it comes to day trading. And you can do that very easily because we know the night before what it is that we're going to trade. We're not kind of making these things up on the fly. Again, we know that night before. So you could allocate it where if everything got filled from the day trading, it was, enough margin that you were comfortable with trading, and then go from there. But I wouldn't, it's just not the thing that we're doing. There are people out there who try to be very, very accurate and take really big kind of swings one way or the other. However, it's just not the game that I'm playing. It's just not what I'm trying to do there. And yeah, it's just I can't give you any more kind of detailed of which ones will trigger, which ones will work, that type of thing, right? So do I ever put on hedges? I follow another CMT, and I feel that the majority of his problem is that he's always putting on hedges recently. And I think the last 3 times he's lost money. No, hedges to me don't make a lot of sense. Can I just start? Yeah, I can start putting these here, and then I can just do this so you guys don't, I don't have to expose you, unfortunately, just to full screen me the entire time. There we go. So here's the question. Do I ever put on hedges? Essentially the question. He follows someone and he thinks his hedges cost him. Well, hedges should cost you in the long run. That's kind of the point. Right? That's kind of the point of them. They lose money over time, generally speaking. The thing that doesn't make sense to me personally is, as a retail trader and as just a, general schmuck, is you don't have to put on hedges. You could just sell some of your securities and then buy them back. So if I'm, for example, let's say here, I'm let me get out of here. Right, I'm looking at the SPY, and for whatever reason, I'm saying, oh, I think we're a little heavy here. I think we're going to come down. I'm going to put on a hedge. Well, let's just use. You guys will notice I always go back to a $100,000 account because it's just easy math. But let's say you have a $100,000 account, and let's say you have 80,000 of that out there in swing trades and investments and different stocks, and you want to put on a hedge to hedge half of that. Well, first you got to figure out a vehicle to do it. Then you've got to figure out a way to potentially put on that trade. You got to figure out how much to take. You got to do that. Why not just sell some of the names, right, that you're not doing? So I'm not totally against it. I just think most people do it out of a constant fear. And I think if you have that constant fear, your other positions are just too big. So instead of that $80,000 you had invested, if you're worried about the market, well, take 60,000 of it and have it yielding you 5% a year at this point, and then take the other 40,000 and invest that. You just invest the amount that you feel comfortable on, and then if you think the market's going to do some sort of short-term trade, put on a hedge. But if I were to ever to implement that, I would implement that in a systematic way. It would be something I would build a strategy that bought, the SQQQ or SPXS, I think is one, right? It's one of these shorts, just do SQQQ, one of these short ETFs, but it would be systematic. There would be a series of things that would happen to say, buy some of these because it is profitable when you do, right? Does that make sense? Like, if I'm systematically buying stocks and I'm systematically trading stocks, then if I'm going to put on a hedge, it should be systematically putting on the hedge as well. For me, one of the things that we're doing a lot of more of is the hedge is the day trading stuff. And that is kind of the way I look at it, because for the OGs who were around here during, I think they're calling it the tariff tantrum, which I love. I think it's a great name. We always have to name our crashes, right? The tariff tantrum, right, was just kind of this zone right here in the market. And for those of us who were trading through here, that wasn't fun. And we didn't have the day trading systems up then. And part of the reason that I was very interested and I worked very hard on working them is there was nothing else to do. We were in a lot of cash. The investments were just kind of hammering on and they were losing money. We were definitely in drawdown that period of time for sure. Some of the swing trades were doing well. We were doing a lot of mean reverting where we were looking for things to kind of sell off and buy bounces and sell off and buy bounces. But I was sitting there and I think it was to the point where like half of all of my net worth is sitting in cash. So for me, that day trading ended up becoming a hedge, because if I had those systems really raring to go, I was kind of sizing into them and trading them myself at this point before I released them to you guys, is I would have taken all of that available cash and I would have day traded that throughout that whole thing. And that ends up becoming a hedge. What you're doing is saying, instead of going short the market, which would be really hard, imagine if you took a short somewhere in this area and then in one day the market just rips like 5% past your short. For me, it just becomes a different time frame of, I might as well trade a short-term time frame when the markets are crazy, as opposed to trading a long-term time frame when the markets are doing well. And by doing that, I'm kind of hedging myself. And a lot of what we're doing is we're hedging ourselves, just period, right? The reason that we have, each of these contains different strategies is really because of this area right here. So this is, make this big and get my mug out of the way, but these are the drawdown correlations. And you can see that, so essentially the closer this is to 1, the more correlated they are. And the either negative or closer it is to 0, the less they are. And if you look at, it's called RBI long here. I need to change it. This is our momentum system. And you can see that the momentum system drawdowns are not at all correlated with our mean reversion drawdowns, which are not at all correlated with our pullback drawdowns. And I just realized now that I've got all these crappy names up here that I have to change. You can see these things are not correlated at all. And then overall, they're not correlated. So each of these systems sucks at a different period of time, which is exactly what we want. We want a bunch of systems. They're all going to suck sometimes. Every system sucks sometimes, but they don't suck at the same time. So a lot of the diversification we're doing is just that. In markets that are just ripping, our momentum system is going to be doing very well. In markets that are tanking, our mean reversion system is probably going to be doing okay. In markets that are choppy, your pullback system, that type of thing, right? So yes, hedging, but no in hedging as in I'm just going to sell a security versus a security I'm long in order to do it. That to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Unless you, again, if you have a system for trading or for shorting the ES or for buying the SQQQ or something that respects, great. If you don't, you're just kind of guessing, right? And you're just getting away in your system by guessing. But that's why these systems currently exist. They might not even be the best 3 systems I could come up with, and I'm always looking to come up with more, but they work synergistically. That's, again, the entire point of these things, that they're supposed to work completely synergistically and work together in different times. And that is our hedge. And the fact that we're trading multiple time frames is also our hedge. So hope that makes sense. Stats Edge Trading, will you be discussing that YouTube video that you've made? I haven't had a chance to watch yet. So that one, yes. Again, watch the video, let me know. But the idea is that I ran some of the systems that we have here in the idea. I'm running some of the systems we have here from the day trading side of things. I was a little bit more kind of liberal. I would take some, maybe add some to some trades and take some off a little early. So the bot fully entered everything, sized everything, did all that. I was just kind of taking profits when they come. It's kind of like what I do in my my own account. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like this LUMN that we just talked about, I'm already out, and I know I shouldn't be because the thing's just ripping. But that's basically it. These prop firms are interesting tools. I wouldn't use them to replace. If we do a 2-minute chart, I wouldn't use them. So I got out of LUMN right here. And that's just because I looked at it and said, man, that's down a lot. I should probably take some profits. And then of course it continued. But so I did that, and I passed this prop account. So these exist in futures and Forex and stocks. They're all over the place. And the idea is that you pay a little bit of money, and you're basically paying to take an interview. And if you can make X before you lose Y, they give you access to buying power, and you have to trade within their rules. And then if you do well, you get paid out a percentage of your winnings. If you do poorly, you get kicked back out, and you got to do the whole kind of process again. Again, very good for testing new ideas. Very good for potentially leveraging up trades you have now, like that other user who doesn't have a $25,000 account. You should check out that Trade the Pool company and see, pay $100 and you can get access to a $25,000 account later. And yeah, as someone who does YouTube things, I go on YouTube all the time and I get recommended, and there's a huge world over there of people that I think I could potentially help out with systematic trading and bring into it. So something I'm definitely exploring from that side of things. And he said, should you have a login for the website, or is it all Substack? And the question is no. So the logins for the website, so if I click this, right, it will sign me just in because it's my website and I own it. Of course it will. These are the free trading courses. So the only login you have for Stats Edge Trading gets you access to these free trading courses, which are just up here. You put in your email. I then email you things to, hey, come try statsedgetrading.com. And that's it. That's what these are for. Sign up for the free newsletter, all of that. Everything that's happening within Substack. Let's not just load that up here. I got to get my streaming chops. I used to stream a lot, my own stuff, but where it is here, where am I here? Everything else is done through Substack directly, right? So here, so you go here, and then depending on whether or not you're a free user to Substack or a paid one. Oh, I'm number 93 in finance. Look at us. You can go and you can click on these, and what it'll do is it will, if you're paying, then you can get access to all of these, and if not, you can't, and you'll get access to the ones that you can pay for. And then down below, in the only other thing to make sure you're in is the Discord room, right? So the Discord room, in what we're doing in the Discord room, is those are where the bots trigger through all the trades. It's also where, we just chat back and forth. You can see there's a pretty healthy, people, oh, I took this one, I missed this one, I didn't take that one. Ask me questions. These Q&As, again, the plan is to do them bi-weekly, and then maybe weekly, maybe later on down the road, when some time frees up. But these are to answer, big questions like this that take paragraphs, but you can always ping me. I may not always be there, but it's my Discord room, so I will go back and look, and I will definitely get to your question that you can ask there live. So again, make sure you're here, even if you just want to mute it most of the time. I think the bots are great because I didn't even notice that we actually had a swing trade trigger. And I use the Discord alert bot because it goes, right, I get this little Discord notification that just pops up here on my watch, so I can be doing whatever. I can be out walking the dog, I can be at the gym, I can be whatever. I get my notification, I bring up my phone. If I like the trade, I take the trade, that kind of thing. So I would definitely make sure you join. Again, that's for everyone has access to that as a pro member. But yes, so I ramble a lot. You don't need to sign in for the website. You need to sign in for the Substack. I'm just reading. Finally, and this is the last one, and this came up yesterday for me as I was on and off planes all day. I took 3 trades. It wasn't bad. Is there a spreadsheet that gets tabulated as the bot sends out? So basically, do we have a spreadsheet in the back end? And no, because what happens is, so how the spreadsheet is generated is I run my back test, and it says, according to the back test, according to the systems, you should take these trades. So then what I do, part of what I do every weekend, is I rerun that back test, and I make sure that what happened in the Discord alert bot was the same as what should have happened in the back test. I reconcile those things, and then once a month I go, once a month or once every couple months, I just go and I update these here. So right at the end of September sometime, or at the end of August, wow, so sometime this week or next week, these will be here updated with the new data, so you can see everything that happens right there and how those end up working. So all right, so we're almost done the questions I have here, and then I will start going through the YouTube chat, which I don't think got destroyed. Yes, it didn't get destroyed. So I have all the questions here that are happening in YouTube as well. And I have, let me see, I have this open here. Good. I've got my iPad here. I've got all kinds. I'm good. I'm usually not like a big multi-monitor guy, but I'll get used to it. So, when looking for a high volume close setup, what determines high volume has occurred? If someone's looking for define high volume, it always has to be relative volume. And this is, I don't think about particularly Stats Edge. I think this is more about this person's particular trades. And pretty much every charting platform out there has some variant of relative volume. So if someone's talking about, oh, this is a high volume breakout or a low volume breakout, this here, so relative volume at time, it's called on TradingView. There'll be one on TrendSpider that's, I think, called relative volume. And because what you're doing is you have to always be comparing the volume back to the volume of the individual security. And, it's one thing, again, when I'm building systems, I do so much of, because a high volume day for NVIDIA, a very low volume anemic day for NVIDIA will be like 10x the volume of random, regional bank out of Kansas that is in the IWM. So you have to then say, how is this day's worth of volume compared to these normal days worth of volume. And quite often, if you have a big day, you'll also have a high volume day. If you look at all the big volume spikes here on the chart, they all kind of correspond with, never mind, that one, it was kind of a big day. They all correspond with, generally speaking, larger days. But yeah, when someone talks about a high volume breakout or a low volume breakout, they are almost always specifically referring to the fact that you have a day that is abnormal compared to normal, right? And so say your stock does 1,000 shares a day on average, and now it's doing 10,000 shares a day. Well, that's amazing. 10,000. Let's just do your stock normally does 100,000 shares a day, and now it's doing 1,000,000 shares a day. Well, that's interesting and maybe potentially something to trade. Whereas if Nvidia ever did 1,000,000 shares a day, there's something catastrophic that has happened, like the market is shut down or something like that. So always, 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 if you're talking high, low, a big move versus a small move, a high volume versus a low volume, you're always comparing back to that individual security. So, all right. Oh, look at this guy. Hey. What's going on, man? If you guys are not following the Strat Soldier over there on the Twitter lands, definitely do. It's a buddy of mine. We've done a couple things together. So welcome. We are doing a live Q&A today. All right. All right. So now I am done the questions that were messaged in via Discord. If there are any more, I still have my Discord open here and I'm looking at it, so definitely send that over. I am just quickly scrolling through emails. What is this? Okay, no, that is someone. There's so many people out here that I'm sure that are scammers are like, hey, let's I can make a thumbnail for you and all these things. Let me edit your videos. Let me into your YouTube channel. Okay, nothing via email. So let us go over to this one here. So again, I always have the Discord open. So if you want to ping me for anything, if I missed any of your questions and you're still there, hit me up, let me know. So I can actually do this and I can just pop them right on stream. Oh, look at that. Look at what a world we live in here. Let's make these bigger. There we go. So, boom, and then we'll do this. It's in a different order on YouTube, so we'll do this. Hi, Michael, I'm posting this now. Unfortunately, I can't be online as it's 2 a.m. here. Wow, man. Well, thank you for being a member, and get some sleep. And this will turn into a video. If anyone's wondering, this will turn into a video after the fact. I'm not going to delete it from the channel. It'll be up there. So if you come back to the channel anytime, you'll be able to see it. And the Stats Edge Pro members, again, the link that's in the emails, that will work. And in the Discord room, that will turn into a channel. My question is about mental discipline on holding till Monday. When a stock drops below your entry point and then recovers, how do you maintain the mental discipline to hold until Monday? Resist the urge to sell, break even, or slightly above. Now, I will say when it comes to making discretionary decisions on systems, the idea is, I would say, the profit-taking side of things is probably the area where I am the most okay with you applying discretion. I don't like discretion when it comes to where to put your stop loss, because that's dangerous, because people will just put their stop loss really far away or somewhere that makes them feel comfortable or whatever. And then also things like taking trades early and stuff like that. You can do it, but I'm less interested in that. For me personally, I will use sometimes discretion on taking profits. So I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in the world if you were underwater on a trade all week and it comes back to your entry and it's Friday and you just want to enjoy your weekend without thinking about it, kill it. I will say, if you are ever worried about a position, you are likely too large within that position. You are trading too big, and you have to kind of lower that position size until you're comfortable doing it. And that leads me to my second point, which it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing, right? Say if you were drawdown for a while and that drawdown felt uncomfortable, it felt like it was too much. I do not think it's the end of the world to say, I am going to step back, and now that it's back to my break-even point, I'm going to take 30% or 70% of my position off. I don't think that's a bad thing, right? I don't it You have to manage everything we're doing is systematic, right? Everything we are doing is built by me and it's a robot spitting out, right? Buy here, sell here. This is the back test of doing it, but you are not a robot. So make sure you are understanding your emotions and again dealing with them accordingly. And again, I will always just say too big if you are trading too large, you are doing things too large. That is the issue when it comes to trying to figure out what's happening here. You're likely too large if you're having a hard time holding. But again, if you're going to take the idea and exit a little bit early, that's fine. I can run something. I'll put it in the Discord of what happens if you sell on Friday versus Monday. I think I already did that for Min2 Max. I think I already asked that question, and it wasn't significant. It wasn't crazy. It was enough better that I think it deemed worthy to hold on for that longer time. But it wasn't like one made you money and one lost you money over time. It was better, but it wasn't like crazy better. So that's the other way of doing it. And then lastly, what gives me the confidence to trade these systems is just the length of time the backtest. That's where I think backtest is like a superpower. Just the ability to backtest systems is a superpower because I don't have to think, am I doing a good job and am I reading the markets correctly and, all of this. And this came from, many years of doing that kind of things is I defer to the data, right? And the beauty of this is the data can't really fool me. It can't trick me into thinking that I'm a better trader or something than I am. Like if you look at this, the reason I leave this data table in here is not to say I'm an amazing trader. I'm going to make money on every trade, every month, every year. It's to show specifically, these are I think I clicked on the swing trading one. Here is 3 months in a row of losses. Right there's quite often where there's many months that you lose money. There's many multiple months in which you lose money, and you just have to kind of be okay with that and be settled in. And then I look at it, and the reason I bring in this equity curve is again not to show that it's just up and to the right and everything's fantastic all the time. It's to show that there are dips and there are periods of time in which you have to wait a couple months to get a couple good trades under your belt, and that's fine. So this data, for me personally, when you ask, that gives me the ability to say, okay, this is my confidence because over time, I know that the systems will work out, even if they don't work out every time. If they don't work, right, they don't need to work out every time. They just need to work out over time. Right. All right. We're moving and grooving now. So this one, all right, let's go to the screen because it will make the white text easier to read, or this one, that's fine as well. Hey, Michael, I like how involved you are in the Discord. Right now, I'm struggling deciding on which trades to take and my allocations. Can you give any highlight on when to take a trade? I take pretty much all of them. And it's part of the reason is that for me personally is that I cannot predict which of these trades will make money or lose money. Again, it's why I'm very clear about the win rate of them, right? This one's 53% on all the swing trading strategies together. It's 52% on the day trades and win rate 43% on the investments. It's the only way to get the returns is to take all the trades, knowing that roughly half the trades you're going to be wrong on. And if you follow me for any length of time, I say that all the time, that half of all the trades you're going to be wrong on for the rest of your career. And I don't look at that as a negative in any way, shape, or form. Actually, I look at it as a really strong positive in which I'm no longer, now that I know that I won't make money on every trade, it just makes it very easy to say, okay, I need to understand that is the case, that I will not make money on every trade. So if I won't make money on every trade, I shouldn't care about every trade. Because if I care about every trade, why? It's like a coin flip, right? What I should care about is making sure that I'm diligently sticking to my risk management and that I'm, trying to hold on to those profits as long as the system tells me to, and maybe a little bit longer, things like that. I'm no longer focused on when I hit the button, will this trade make me money? Because I know it's roughly 50-50, right? It's going to be roughly that side of things. And again, most traders, most professional traders are sitting around that win rate. The people that tell you that they're right 80-90% of the time, they are very likely lying. And the only reason they're not lying, the only reason they could not be lying, is if they have really bad risk reward ratios, right? They're making $10 when they're right and losing $100 when they're wrong, kind of things. The best traders out there in the world, if you follow like the turtle traders and trend followers and that type of thing, they've got like a 30% win rate. They just know every now and then, right? Once a year, once a month, once a whatever, they just nail something that just rips. And that's where they make all their money from. Today, for example, I think every one of the trades, no, 2 of the trades are positive from the day trading side of things. 2 of them are negative, if I'm reading that rightly. LUMN was huge, right? I got it a little bit early, so I'm a bad example here. But this kind of would make up for a lot of those other ones. So yeah, it's the I take all of them. I'm basically, when the trade comes through, my natural inclination is going to be to take it. The only reason I'm not going to do it is if there's some kind of market event or something that happens. And the example that I'll just give is, again, the tariff tantrum. There was a lot of, on these days, right here, there was a lot of kind of mean reverting and pullback setups that we're doing. What I do in those scenarios is I just bring up a 30-minute chart and I just wait for the market to calm down. It's not like super advanced TA or anything. It's just let me, give it a minute and wait for, maybe one 30-minute candle to break the prior one's high, or a hammer candle, or it's just something basic to show that at least at this moment, there is some amount of buyers that come in, and it's not just a jackknife lower. There is some amount of buying that is taking place in the stock that I'm interested in. Other than that, I just deal with the systems, and I know I'm going to be wrong half the time, and it sucks and it hurts and it's no fun. But it's trading, and there's just no way. There's no way at all around it, right? So that was the thoughts on live streaming setups. I'm getting more interested to live streaming more. I used to live stream a whole bunch, but then I had kids, and right, that became problematic. Now those kids are at daycare, so maybe I'll turn on this live stream a little bit more. Maybe I'll do it randomly and just see who kind of pops in, right? Someone's talking to the sound. I'm making sure I'm getting these. Again, if I miss any because we had that little glitch where it kicked out, just certainly let me know. So someone's saying I should do... Oh, someone did not like my music. That's okay. Awesome. A recent episode of Line Your Own Pockets. If you're not listening, if you want a podcast to listen to, you should go to Line Your Own Pockets. Is just lineyourownpockets.com, I think. Line Your Own Pockets. Pockets.com. Yeah, there it is. If you want to, right, check out Line Your Own Pockets. I just finished recording an episode before I popped on here with Dave. So this is just a podcast with, just so you know who this user's talking about, podcast with me and my buddy Dave, who's also a systematic trader and has been a systematic trader for a really long time. We just talk about systematic trading. So if you want to be a real nerd about it, that's what this gentleman is talking about here. Basically doesn't like the let's just read the Line Your Own Pockets. A lot of issues surface seem to hinge on the unreliability of PCs and Windows. What's the biggest impediment to Mac native trading stack? My biggest issue with Mac native is that Real Test, which is the back tester that I use, uses Windows. Other than that, I can do everything on the Mac side of things. So what I did is I bought, they call them a mini PC. It's like literally this big. And it's got a whole bunch of RAM in it, and it's got a really strong CPU, no GPU, obviously, because it's like literally the size of my hand. And that is just, I actually have that plugged in downstairs right next to my router. So it's directly into the modem, and that lives there, and I remote into it from here. Everything else you're seeing, I'll do on a Mac. And if it wasn't for Real Test, then I could do everything Mac wise, because a lot of things are done with webhooks nowadays, that kind of thing. The big thing is just, again, Realtest does not work on the Mac. If I could emulate somehow Realtest directly on the Mac, I could. The reason I don't use like a Parallels or something like that is simply because the amount of RAM that Realtest uses is insane. And when I'm running things, I'm back testing hundreds of thousands of trades across 25 years. So I need a ton of RAM. And this particular Mac I have only has like 64 gigs, which seems like a lot, except that PC has a dedicated 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm already bumping up against the limit. So I would need something with like 256 gigs of RAM for that kind of thing, right? So that's the only thing that I really need it for, is running the Realtest systems. Everything we do from Stats Edge Trading comes particularly from those. There was the no audio for a while. Ever sell a swing on Friday when the market is ripping like last week, when instincts tell you the weekend may not? Yeah, so basically the market's ripping, give me permission to sell this on Friday instead of Monday. You have permission. Again, you can do it. This is the area that I think there is more room for human intervention into, right? The idea is that I think that humans may be a little bit better at sussing out, especially on swings, profits of both what's going. Like you gave an example, the market's ripping into Friday. You think there might be a gap down or sideways movement Monday, right? Should I sell on Friday? I think that that's totally fine if you want to do that. Now you just need to know what you're giving up, right? You are locking in profits now for the trade that you're making is the chance that there is some insane move later that happens over the weekend and the market gaps up a couple percent and you're giving out a bunch of profits. The data says you sell on Monday and you repeat the process again. If you want to sell on Friday, you will not. And again, I'll run this at some point, maybe tomorrow, and I'll put it in the Discord room for you guys to see. It's not incredibly different. It's a couple percentage points a year of the system's worse, but it's not that, not that big of a deal one way or the other. So yeah, go right ahead. Absolutely, you can do it. And if anything, from the way I think, I'd be more likely to sell the ones that are down on Friday and just get those out of my head, and then get the ones that are up. So. Yeah, so this is a question about the video I made on the bot. If you're interested, it's the last YouTube channel or the last YouTube video before this one. So when the stream's done, you can just go back on the channel that you're watching this on and take a look at that. And the question is, can you run the bot into 2 locations? Absolutely. What he's talking about is Signal Stack, which works with TrendSpider, and I think Signal Stack is owned by Trends. In fact, I know Signal Stack is owned by TrendSpider. I spoke to the CEO recently, and because essentially what it's doing is a webhook, and a webhook is just a instruction to say, send this information to this place on the internet. So you could just send 2. You could set 2 alerts, one for your personal broker, one for a prop firm or trade the pool or something like that. And I know you can, because that's what I do. I'm sending to multiple places in order to end up taking those trades. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. Alternately, I'd be happy my microphone went out. I think the chats in this thing are a little bit out of order, but I think they're all here. Michael, you should do some trading view videos on your YouTube channel if you're into that monetizing thing. Yeah, I could. I don't know. I walk a fine line in this one, right? I don't want to be, I want to make sure I'm always adding value to people. I want to make sure that I'm helping in some way, things like that. What I don't want to do is just kind of go along with the, this is the video I should make in order to get enough people to watch my stuff, right? I'm not really too interested in that. But I see what you're saying, right? And I should do more of that as well. So I agree, but yeah, I just need to figure out what that would be. Right? What I thought of doing, and I don't know if this would be. Here's a good idea, and you let me know if this is a good idea. There's all of these videos that trigger the shit out of me that are on YouTube. Of I tested this indicator 100 times, and this is the result. All of those are crap. Like every one of them is just absolute garbage in the way they test something. I want to take some of the ones with the most views and actually back test them like properly and then show the difference, because I bet you pretty much every one of those systems is just complete garbage. And I could do that in TrendSpider or in TradingView or even in Real Test and just kind of compare. This is what this guy said. There's all of those things is huge where I can see videos with millions of views where some guy's like, yeah, I tested the MACD cross above the 200 period moving average, or I forget whatever I saw 100 times, and this makes me so much money. It's like, no, buddy. And I could test it. I could show you. I could put slippage in. I could put commission. I just don't know if it's like, am I now just like challenging other traders to fights on the internet? And is really, as a 40-year-old man, is that what I want to do with my time? But I think it could be very, very interesting. So do you have any ETA on your new day trading systems? No, I got to test them a little bit more. They're not performing the way I thought they would. So they might get shelved for a bit while I try to figure out what the problem is. Again, I'm always working on new systems. There are definitely new systems that are coming down the pipe soon, but I test them with my money first, and then if they work, then I give them to Stats Edge Trading. So those ones so far have just done nothing but cost me and been a headache. So I don't know, and I just need to go back and run the tests and compare. Is it just a bad time for that system, or is there something fundamentally going on? But yeah, not ready to launch those. So. All right. Can you walk us through the algo thinking on Thar this week? The entry level seems very far away. Can we just entry levels based on prior factors? No, I wouldn't on that. But Thar. So this is what the user's talking about, right? Thar, we were looking for a 333 buy on this one without giving away all of the secret jazz. It's essentially this VWAP from the level in which this thing spiked up. You can see is sitting roughly around 333. So we're looking for a pullback. And the reason that we're looking for this particular spot is because it's where a lot of traders will look to buy pullbacks. They'll look at VWAPs. There's also a little bit of fib work in here as well, in which if you look in the Fibonacci area, I think it's like a 0.38 or something like that. But there's a confluence of levels here that traders I know historically look for pullbacks, and they look for breakouts. And the reason I say no to potentially getting it earlier is because, again, the whole premise behind this system, and you can watch, right, there's a video of my mug here as well if you want to check them out. Look at this, it's Beardception here. You can go and look, right? This particular setup, again, is back tested, and this is my favorite one, to be honest, this pullback system. So I don't mess with this too much. And this is, so it's the yellow line right here in this chart. And again, the shaded line, if you don't know how to read these, the shaded line is the three setups combined, and the yellow line right here is the particular line that we're looking at for this setup. And the whole point of it is that basically you're looking for a snapback, right? This is why we only do it for a week. You're looking for something that rips and then immediately snaps back, and then buyers kind of come in and go from here. Now, if you're looking for something that breaks out and consolidates for a bit and then continues, well, we've got something for that for you. And that's the Momo setup. So if we just go from Thar and we take a look at like TKO, which just triggered today, that kind of looks like a Thar that didn't pull back. So that fills in that particular gap, if that makes sense. So if Thar just consolidates sideways all week, then there's a potential that we're going to be looking for a momentum trade on this later. But we're looking for that snap pullback to then continue higher. So essentially we're looking for somebody who takes a big short and really pushes Thar down, and we're waiting there to buy that dip, and then we push higher. It's why we're only looking for 5 trades, but sometimes you'll see there'll be 10, 15, 20 potential ideas because we're just taking the first 5. So we're watching a whole bunch of names knowing that there's like an 80% chance with all of these things that they don't trigger, which is why I think the Discord alert bot is so powerful, because most times we're not going to get a trigger. We're just not going to get a trigger most times. So we're just going to wait for this pullback and then the potential bounce from there. So yeah, they're pulling back. Again, it's not a random price, obviously. It's a very specific reason. There's a couple indicators that are lining up in that zone, and we need to see that in order to have that price happen. But again, 80% of the time, you're never getting that. You're never getting that trigger. And I'm okay with that personally. Yes, at some point, your recent video, I'd love to see walkthrough from alerts to orders. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, there was good feedback on that video, so I'll make more into that prop firm kind of space. I think that's buy more IPA. What's IPA? And it's really like disappointing that this isn't a beer company. No, IPA hasn't moved. Like, and I know you're just joking in there, but it just hasn't done anything. This is not interesting to me. This is the least interesting stock this week, right? Nice push up, a little bit of pullback. Again, we're looking for that snapback, and if we draw the VWAP again, you'll have a good idea why, right? It's existing somewhere in this area right here. You can see it jumped off it for like 3 or 4 days. Now we're trading below it. So if anything, if this doesn't snap back soon, I'd be more likely just to sell it for a tiny loss and move on with my life. But yeah, nothing there with IPA. Oop, awesome. So thank you. You're welcome. New here is the monthly investment system, an email or some sort of communication where you discuss. Yeah, it's an email just like anything else. I can show you. And again, as a paid member, you can always go to, where was this? michael.noss.substack.com. Come on. Right, and you can, I know there's a lot, but you can always scroll through them, and you should see the last investing one. Man, I post a lot. God, how are you guys not sick of hearing from me? Monthly. There we go. This one, investment. So it'll just look like this. This is the last one. And, I'm okay showing this because it's over in a couple days. But yeah, so these are right. NVIDIA, Apple, Google, these names, right? These are the RSI rotate, TNXP, and then the monthly Momo. And I think we had one monthly Momo. I can't remember which one. You look at so many stocks a day. I couldn't tell you. If you were like Michael and you put a gun to my head and you're like, please, tell me what is in your portfolio right now. Could not do it. Just couldn't. I buy the trades, I set the stop, I move on. And it was Cisco, right? Duh, I remember, CSCO. And we do, right, this is looking for, I think it stopped out. Did it stop out? I don't think I own Cisco. I may own Cisco. 68.14 was the stop after 69.55. Yeah, so it definitely triggered, ripped, and then that would have, yes, I think it was on earnings. I think I remember now. It's coming back to me. But yes, it comes in with just looking at, get that off the screen. Comes in just looking like the other emails, right? So it will be, here is everything for the month, and these are equally weighted in the back test, but you can do it however you want. These are generally going to be large cap tech names because these are based off of the stocks that everyone cares about the most, quantitatively put. And then these are going to be ones that are just kind of really, really strong names. And then these are kind of potential trades that could take place if the market's really strong. And then we go, yo, Strat's going, yeah. You making the prop account work with the trading bot is genius. Well, thank you, man. I saw your comments on YouTube, and yeah, if you want to chat about it, certainly you know how to get a hold of me. I'm very interested in this prop space. Again, I feel like an old boomer, and everyone else who's talking about it on YouTube are like Zoomers. So I need to like dip my toe in kind of slowly. But I look at them and I say, well, this seems like free leverage if you know what you're doing. And I know where the firms make their money is probably people buying accounts and blowing them up and buying new accounts and blowing them up and doing that over and over again. And I don't really even hate that, because I would rather someone, I said this in the video, I'd rather someone buy a $120 account and just blow it and then buy another one. And even if you do that once a month, that's $120 a month. That to me is a way cheaper commission cost than what most people do, which would just be save up to 25K, throw it into an account, completely YOLO it to zero, and move on. So I know I'm not foolish enough to think that most of their money is made by having successful traders. Most of it's made from those fees. But again, I still don't really hate it. I think it's better than the alternative. Great Q&A. Thanks for hosting. Again, StatSearch Pro members, this is going to be happening bi-weekly, and then periodically on YouTube kind of here as well. Looking at your swing trade and day trading backtests, how would you characterize their performances over different times, over market variability, greater risk control with day trading? So yeah, I always look at it. Day trading is for small amounts of income, right? It's for trying to exploit a tiny edge for over and over and over again. That's what I'm trying to do with day trading. I'm not trying to, bet the house and make $1 million and drive Lambos or whatever. It's the systems I develop have like a 53% edge. And I'm just trying to exploit that edge very, very small many times. So what I do with day trading is I take unallocated capital from my swing trading and my investing, and I put it in day trading. Or if I'm fully invested, I will just size up ever so slightly and then kind of go from there, if that makes sense, right? So it's kind of like a bonus to the swing trading side of things. Swing trading, obviously from the long side, is going to have some correlation to what it is that the market does. It's just going to, and that's okay, right? I'm totally fine with that. The idea is that I am looking to know that the market normally goes up, and we have mean reversion and pullback strategies that should do okay in sideways markets. In crash markets, we're going to lose money because we're long only, and that's just the way it works. But then from the day trading side of things, we're both long and short, and we're playing extremes, which are really important here as well. So yeah, they're going to be correlated differently. Obviously, day trading is going to do a little bit better in high volatility markets, swing trading a little bit better in low volatility markets, investing really well in low volatility, right, grind up markets. And that's why I try to do everything. I don't look at this and say, I'm a day trader, I'm a swing trader, I'm an investor. I'm a trader. I should be trading kind of as much as I possibly can across a bunch of things, if at all possible. All right, so we got another couple questions from, oh no, that's an old question from Discord. I'm in an old chat. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything from Discord first as we're getting. Listen, you and your throwback, get out of here. Throwback, pullback, it's interchangeable. Hey, Michael, thank you for your videos. 2 years ago, I was struggling as a trader with little to no system. I saw you on Trader TV, and it changed my perspective on trading, and I'm infinitely better now. That is awesome. I love to see that. I look at, I don't want to get too mushy, but there's so much garbage on YouTube, and I've been on YouTube for a long time. If you scroll back on my video, you're actually going to see like a beardless young Mike. I've been doing this forever, and we just hit 8,000 subscribers, I think, today. So it's not like I'm good at this YouTube thing, but I like it that I can hopefully help people. And more important than anything, it's why I love guys like Stretch Soldier, right? He's going to be the same way. Realistic expectations, not you sit down, you wait for this line to cross this line, you're a millionaire, right? Just we're trying to exploit very small edges over and over and over again to slowly side income, main income, wealth creation, that type of thing. Not like Lambos and yachts and all kinds of crazy stuff. So thank you for that kind comment. I certainly appreciate them. Sorry I had to call. I said you were taking Mac. Yeah, I do everything on the Mac. I'd say M3 Pro, I think. I'm pretty sure. There's a button here, right? About this Mac. M3 Pro, 64 gigabytes of RAM. That thing. So M3 Pro, not Pro Max. I don't know. It's not the huge one and not the Air, the middle one. So I can still travel with it. But a lot of people saying to do the okay. I don't know what happened there. Let's see if we are back. We are back. Okay. I'm not going to click that thing anymore. How do I get rid of this? I'm going to get rid of that and click that. Okay. So I think we're back. I am back. I don't know what happened. The streaming software crashed. Again, if I'm going to do more streaming, I may need to get rid of this. It's called Ecamm for anyone who's not shopping for a stream thing. Maybe I just go back to OBS. But looks like we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to finish up with just looking through the chat here, see if there's any more questions. Then we're going to call this one a day. I'm going to figure out what broke, and then again, I want to do this more often. The plan is again at least once bi-weekly with just pro members, and then periodically with non-pro members as well. So I apologize. I think I'm back, right? And I think I'm actually close to all the questions anyway, but I didn't want to just end it like that. I also appreciate your video. I just started the free trading plan course and look forward to the trading plan creation. Yes, so that's another, just good for plug myself, but yeah, make sure you're going and checking out these free courses, right? Free intro course, free trading plan course. They're email captures, right? So it's nothing. Give me your email. I don't take your credit card information or anything like that. In exchange, you get these nice courses here where if you click on it, why can't I sign into my own thing? I own this website. It did earlier. Anyway, you can go and check out these individual courses. Oh, right here. So you can just go and go through each individual names and each individual chapters, and there's a lot of them. And one of them is just learning about trading plan in general. And one is just an intro to trading course where during the pandemic, I sat down with my wife, who was a dental hygienist, never traded before, and we went through the whole rigmarole of this is what trading is and this is what we're trying to do, and all that kind of basic stuff, which I think is really, really cool. I'm just going to go over Discord. I shut down everything on this computer just to see if there was some sort of conflict with any of these things, but I want to make sure there are no more questions. I'm going to give you guys another couple seconds to answer questions. And then we will call that day and we will move on. And yes, I wanted to start doing these periodically, maybe even weekly. I had a lot of fun doing it. Again, some limited to Stats Edge Pro members, some more expanded out, depending. Yeah, it was fun. Let's do a quick look at the market while we see if there's any more questions. I bet you nothing happened. So if we go to the SPY here, yes, nothing happened. So this is the good time about making sure that you have your alert set and you have like that Discord alert bot going and you just walk away, is because imagine there are people who sit here all day and look, we ticked up a little bit and we ticked down a little bit. If you look at like the 30-minute chart, we've done nothing at all. So happens as well. Do I think the SPY daily is a rising wedge? No. You can, the problem with rising wedges is you can always draw a rising wedge. You can always do it. Right? If you go to like a monthly chart, right, you can take this and you can draw. You can say, oh, well, look at this. This is a monthly chart. If you go back from 2009 until now, it's a rising wedge. That's my problem with patterns like this, and this is why I'm more technical. You can go back to kind of any time frame and look at any chart and see all of these different patterns. Like someone, and there are people out there on Twitter right now, you could find them, that are here saying this is a rising wedge and you have to fade it. Eventually we're hitting the top end of this band, so it's time to short it, and this thing is going to break down to like the whole world is going to get cut in half. And it's just okay. But they'll do it, and you can do this the whole time. I've seen this exact chart before, and people will say, well, it's all gonna come crashing down at some point, and it just never does. Right? So you could, people could look at this and say, yeah, well, we're at the top end of this wedge, but then what will happen is if we go up a bit, we just push the wedge up forward. So, right. And yeah, I'm not putting the chats on screen anymore because that's when it crashed. So I'm just not going to do that anymore because I think that's what broke it. In your systems, do you leverage on indicators, vice or price volume or price action, or is it a mix? It's a mix. Everything's a mix, right? So how I build up with systems is I come up with ideas. I watch the market. I'm sitting here live. I do my analysis. I go through this whole list of ETFs every night, and then once a week, and then once a month. I go through like 200 charts, and I'm kind of looking just for patterns. I'm looking for, this looks good here, that looks good here, these type of things. And I still do put on some discretionary trades from time to time. And part of that is like an engagement tool, is to say, I want to place trades when, 200-day moving average, all the basic, I'm a CMT, so all the basic CMT stuff that you hear them all talk about, I do that as well. And a lot of that is me kind of hunting and fishing for potentially what will be the next system. Right? So we talked about THAR and we talked about VWAP pullbacks. And a lot of that just came from the fact that I noticed that if you took a VWAP for some of these large runners, if it came back to the average price from that big igniting candle, that sometimes that was a good place to buy. So then I go, okay, if that's my theory, now let's go test it. And I will bring up Realtest and I will code that in and I will start to play with the numbers. And that's a process that take weeks or months, or I do, robustness testing. I paper trade them. I go through the 5,000 potential charts that it spits out for this is the trade. And I do all of that analysis. And then if it ends up that my idea of what I saw from the charts is correct, well, then it becomes a system. And that system, again, gets shared to anyone who's a Stats Edge Pro trading member. But yeah, so I look at all of them, right? So this is something that you could say is both a VWAP, so an indicator, and it's based off price action, because the idea is that at the end of the day, all of this is psychology. And what I want from a psychological point of view is a big push up and then a pull back down to that price. So a rip up and then a pull back into a price. And then the question is, what price? Like, where do I want it to pull back to? And you could, say, oh, well, I want the RSI to be oversold, or I want a hammer candle, or for the strat guys out there, they've got their own set of setups, but I'm just trying to trade pullbacks. How do I think I could quantify a pullback? In this case, VWAP looked like a decent place to do it. So, right. So you can see that this is a combination of a lot of things. And most systems, most setups are going to be in hopeful combinations. And then in the indicators, there are a lot of ideas of, it's very hard to quantify support and resistance. So like how, I want it to pull back to support. Well, what does that actually mean in a quantifiable, testable, repeatable way? It's very hard to impossible. So instead of doing that, I will take the same idea and I will just look for a series of indicators. And sometimes those indicators are just proxies of price, like this TKO from today, right? This is the one that I bought right before the stream, or on the stream here. I just looked down and did it a little bit ago, and this alerted today, this TKO. And you can see here with TKO, it's a kind of a bull flag, but I can't just say buy bull flags, right? I have to mathematize this, so that I used a lot of indicators to try to come up with potentially what a bull flag is. So it's a bit of price action, a bit of indicators, and then a bit of volume analysis as well, right? All right, guys, sorry for the kickoffs. That happened all the time. I'm going to try to bug troubleshoot this software, maybe go back to OBS or something like that, and try that as well. But I appreciate everyone for coming by and hanging out and getting all the live Q&A. The next one, again, will be more exclusive to Stats Edge Pro members. So if you're interested, again, go to statsedgetrading.com. You can do all the research and look at all the stuff here and check that out. And there will be a new video on Friday, which is tomorrow. That's how sleep deprived I am right now. So tomorrow there'll be a new video for Stats Edge Pro members. Just remember, Monday's a holiday. So Tuesday morning is when you'll get the day trading stuff. Probably Sunday for the investing and Monday for the swing trading, or vice versa. You guys can let me know in Discord what you'd like. But, I usually like to spread them out, so I'm not just like shooting like 10 emails at you. So yeah, sometime throughout the weekend you'll get, because at the end of the month it is the investment systems update, but you'll get all of that by Tuesday morning. Thanks for coming by, and talk to you guys in the Discord room here.